52. At first glance, that number might not mean much, just another integer in the endless sea of stats that swirl around the basketball world. But for the Golden State Warriors, it's a number that could redefine their future. Because at pick 52 in the 2023 NBA Draft, they snagged a towering sharpshooter named Quinton Post, and nobody saw it coming. Fans and analysts alike were stunned the day this under-the-radar prospect was announced. Now, the entire league is wondering whether they missed out on a once-in-a-generation hidden gem, or if we're just witnessing a curious flash in the pan. In the next few minutes, we're going to dive headfirst into the twists, controversies, and unbelievable facts surrounding Quinton Post. By the end of this story, you'll have no doubt that this guy is more than a footnote in Warriors history. From secret pre-draft workouts to rumors about friction with certain vets, there's plenty to unravel. So buckle up, because just when you think you've figured out his journey, another unexpected turn sneaks up from nowhere. The 2023 NBA Draft was supposed to be straightforward for the Golden State Warriors, who had minimal capital and a tight rotation already. No one truly believed they'd make a big splash, at least not in the draft. But minutes before the second round wrapped up, whispers rippled through the draft room. The Warriors had cut a last-second deal to grab pick 52. They traded a small sum of cash and convinced an unsuspecting partner to let go of what seemed like a throwaway pick. There were no dramatic tweets, no major ESPN alerts. It was the definition of an under-the-radar move, but behind that calm exterior, the Warriors' front office was buzzing. Word around the league is that the team's scouting staff had quietly flown cross-country a few days prior, scheduling hush-hush workouts and last-second interviews with a short list of overlooked prospects. Rumors swirled that Quinton Post's name was at the top of that list. Some insiders even claimed that certain Warriors executives were initially unconvinced. How often does a 7-footer who can shoot the lights out actually appear in the second round? Was he for real or just a novelty act that'd fizzle in the NBA? In the end, the Warriors trusted their gut. They pounced when the opportunity presented itself and ended up with a player whose skill set was both perplexing and electrifying. The mainstream basketball world barely noticed, but inside the Golden State War Room, there was a quiet thrill. They might have just stolen a potential star, yet the questions lingered. Why did Quinton Post fly under everyone's radar for so long? And what led the Warriors to bet on him at the 11th hour? As we'll soon see, his journey was never straightforward, far from it. Long before he stepped onto an NBA court, Quinton Post was surrounded by skeptics. Going back to his high school days, rumors floated around that he was somewhat of an odd fit on every team he joined. He was too tall to play like a guard and too skinny to bang bodies in the post. Coaches would reportedly scratch their heads. What do we do with a kid who wants to shoot from the perimeter, but doesn't have the quickness or wingspan of a typical forward? The so-called experts said he was just a gimmick, a 7-footer who'd rather hit fadeaway jumpers than hustle for putbacks. But behind the scenes, Post was quietly perfecting his craft. There are stories of him staying in the gym for hours after practices ended, repping three-pointers until his arms felt like lead. He faced endless critiques about his footwork, his defense, and even his attitude. One rumor claimed that an assistant coach in college told Post he was delusional if he thought he could make it to the NBA as a three-point specialist. Some even alleged that he considered exploring leagues in Europe, believing he might fare better in a more shooter-friendly environment. Whether or not those whispers are true, one thing is certain. By the end of his college career, he had become a dangerously reliable deep threat. Scouts who actually bothered to watch his film noticed a consistency that went beyond mere luck. And as all of us know, once the Warriors catch even a whiff of a sharp-shooting big man, that player's stock can soar, no matter how raw the rest of his game might be. Still, the question remains, if he was that good, why did he almost slip out of the draft altogether? Some claim it was pure ignorance among franchises with limited scouting budgets. Others blame a wave of controversies that we'll get into soon. But one thing's certain, his first steps in the pro basketball world were anything but ordinary. As Quinton Post's name started percolating among hardcore draft watchers, so did a flurry of bizarre rumors. If you believe the chatter, there were scuffles with teammates during college, fueled by jealousy and misunderstandings about his unique skill set. Accusations surfaced about an attitude problem, though concrete evidence remained scarce. Another rumor insisted that he ticked off certain assistant coaches by refusing to change his shot mechanics, which led to him getting benched for stretches. The truth, as always, is murky. Then there were whispers about injuries. Some said he was prone to knee problems, others suggested a lingering back issue. A few even claimed that he'd been battling personal conflicts, pulling him away from practice at crucial times. The controversies didn't stop there. Right around the draft, more outlandish talk popped up. Someone said he'd refused to attend standard draft interviews, apparently to keep his aura of mystery alive. Another story had him turning down an agent's advice and representing himself for a brief period, which rubbed certain teams the wrong way. How many of these rumors are real, and how many are just sensational nonsense? We may never know the full story, but it's undeniable that leading up to draft night, Quinton Post was not your typical squeaky clean prospect. He had a shroud of uncertainty hovering around him, which likely scared off GMs with more conservative approaches. But for the Warriors, these controversies might have actually been a blessing in disguise. After all, speculation and half-truths can drive a player's stock way down, providing a golden opportunity for an organization bold enough to take a chance. And the Warriors have never been shy about unearthing diamonds in the rough. Once Quinton Post finally stepped onto an NBA court wearing a Golden State jersey, everything changed. Fans got their first glimpse of him draining threes from every corner of the floor, and the internet exploded with clips of a near 7-footer who shoots like a seasoned guard. It wasn't just a fluke. Early in his rookie year, he hovered around a 45% shooting clip from beyond the arc. Numbers that any sniper would envy, never mind someone who stands well over 6.5 feet. Analysts combed through hours of footage, searching for patterns, weaknesses, or explanations. Was it the Warriors system that unlocked his potential? Or had he always possessed this level of shooting brilliance, hidden behind layers of rumor and overshadowed by college coaches' skepticism? Opinions vary, but one thing became crystal clear. The Warriors might have pulled off one of the biggest draft day heists in years. Fans started pointing to specific plays. A no-dip three he drilled in a high-pressure moment, or the time he coolly knocked down a transition triple like he was channeling Klay Thompson. In an era where bigs who can stretch the floor are worth their weight in gold, Post's performance was borderline unbelievable. People started asking if he'd dethrone Buddy Hield as the second-best shooter on the team, behind the one and only Steph Curry. Then came the Orlando game, where Post's shooting ignited a massive comeback that stunned everyone. Even though Curry dropped 56 points, it was Quinton Post's contributions that quietly turned the tide in the Warriors' favor. When you watch the replays, you see him strolling up the floor, calling for the ball and letting it fly with no hesitation. That's not just skill, it's confidence and maybe a bit of audacity too. From that night on, every major sports outlet was forced to acknowledge that Quinton Post wasn't simply riding the coattails of a star-studded Warriors lineup. He was actively shaping games with his unique toolkit. But that was only the start, says the voice in your head, right? Absolutely, because his shooting prowess is just one facet of this startling saga. An emerging narrative among critics has been, sure he can shoot, but can he defend at an NBA level? For a while, the safe assumption was absolutely not. The highlights from his college days showed him swishing jumpers, not anchoring a defense. But something funny happened once he started logging actual minutes for the Warriors. Quinton Post showed he wasn't a complete pushover on defense. He's no Draymond Green, that much is clear, but he's demonstrated a knack for positioning himself effectively, using his wingspan to deter passes and timing shot contests better than expected. In one notable matchup, Post blocked a would-be dunk with surgical precision, sparking a fast break that ended in yet another wide-open triple for him on the other end. The bench went wild, and fans realized this kid might have intangible strengths that never popped up in the stats columns. During another game, he even stripped a driving guard clean without committing a foul. That's something you rarely see from raw bigs who typically just lunge at everything. This newfound element of his game, disrupting passing lanes, playing serviceable pick-and-roll defense, has started to silence the naysayers. Sure, he still has lapses like missing a rotation or biting on a clever fake. But overall, the drop-off on defense isn't nearly as dire as scouts once warned. In fact, coaches and teammates alike have begun praising him for picking up the Warriors' defensive schemes faster than expected. Some insiders credit Draymond Green's mentorship and Kevin Looney's willingness to share advanced tips on footwork and boxing out. Others believe Quinton Post always had the physical tools and is simply benefiting from being surrounded by elite defensive minds. Either way, his ability to hold his own on defense has raised eyebrows. Could it be that the Warriors landed a 7-foot sharpshooter who's also capable of neutralizing drives and collecting blocks? At this point, it's impossible to watch him and not imagine the possibilities. High pick and pop sets with Steph, corner threes opening wide lanes for slashers, and the occasional highlight reel block that reminds the league not to sleep on him. The hype train is gaining speed and it shows no sign of slowing down. Even though he's still just at the start of his NBA journey, Quinton Post feels like a puzzle that everyone's trying to solve. Is he truly the next major piece in Golden State's dynasty, or is he a short-term curiosity who'll eventually level off? As the season marches on, he keeps giving us reasons to believe in his long-term potential. Yet so many questions remain unanswered. Will he continue to refine his defensive approach and develop even more tools in the paint? Could he become a better passer or learn to orchestrate plays from the post? What happens if teams start doubling him or running him off the three-point line? Can he adapt, or will he wilt under the added pressure? NBA insiders have been buzzing about a possible mentor-mentee relationship with Draymond Green, who's known for taking younger players under his wing, especially if they show promise on the defensive end. Imagine a scenario where Dre teaches Post the finer points of reading offenses, calling out switches, and anticipating rotations. Add that to a near-automatic shooting stroke from 25 feet, and you have the makings of a genuinely scary skill set. Beyond his on-court possibilities, the rumors of behind-the-scenes drama, private training sessions with Curry, and potential friction with veterans are sure to keep fans entertained. And maybe a bit on edge. After all, success can be a double-edged sword, especially in a team as star-studded as the Warriors. One day, you're the underdog that everyone roots for. The next day, you're a threat to established roles, stirring up envy and debate across sports talk shows. So, here we stand at the intersection of fact and speculation. Quinton Post's rise from the 52nd pick in the draft to a near-household name among Warriors faithful is nothing short of astonishing. The controversies, the rumors, the shocking revelations. Each piece of his story adds another layer to a narrative nobody saw coming. We've all witnessed how quickly fortunes can change in the NBA. One moment, you're pinned as a fringe player destined for the G League. The next, you're drilling the dagger 3 in a comeback victory and setting social media on fire. Post might be proof that the line between anonymity and superstardom is as thin as a single hot streak. Or maybe he's the real deal, on the cusp of rewriting what it means to be a 7-foot shooter in a game that's evolving faster than we can keep track. The question now is, can Quinton Post maintain this astonishing pace or even improve from here? Will the controversies and swirling rumors fade away, or will new shocks reveal themselves as he becomes more prominent in the league? Only time will tell. But one thing's for certain, nobody will ever see the number 52 the same way again. Especially if this unexpected rookie continues blazing a path that leaves even the most seasoned NBA veterans questioning their assumptions. Because at the end of the day, the greatest stories in basketball are the ones that come out of nowhere, defy the odds, and keep us guessing about what's around the next corner. Quinton Post is living proof that sometimes the boldest moves happen when no one's paying attention. And if there's one franchise that knows how to capitalize on hidden talent, it's the Golden State Warriors. Keep your eyes on Post. He might just become the biggest surprise of the modern NBA era.